Are you looking for an easy crochet sweater to make? Then you've come to the right place. I'm Little John Yarns, and today I'm going to teach you how to make this beginner-friendly batwing sweater. The sizes included in this pattern are small to 2X. The top I'm wearing right now is one size bigger than what I'm using because my model, who I made this for, didn't want to model for me. Let's hop into the pattern breakdown. After completing your foundation row, you will be working in a 2-row pattern repeat with increases on both ends of your work. After you're completed with all your increases, you're going to stop increasing to work on the sleeves. And after the sleeves are all done, you're going to create a second panel and sew your work together. You can go over to my website and follow along to the free pattern. All the information will be down in the description box below. You will need 1,300 to 1,500 yards of yarn and a 6mm crochet hook. Please remember to check your gauge before you start. If your gauge is incorrect, your sweater won't fit correctly. Also take note of what yarn fibers you're using. All worsted weight yarns are not created the same. The density and fiber mix can cause your item to stretch. For example, my yarn is made of 50% acrylic and 50% nylon. The nylon causes the sweater to stretch a little bit more, so therefore I size down. Here are the pattern measurements from size small to 2X. I always provide video timestamps for easy pattern navigation. Before we start making our pattern, I want to make sure you obtain the correct gauge. The gauge for this pattern is 3 pattern rows equal 2 inches and 7 stitches across equal 2 inches. If you don't know how to obtain a gauge, I'll leave a link down in the description box below so you can learn how to do that because you need the correct gauge to get the right size top. All right. I'm going to leave all the beginning chains over here for whatever size you are. I have sizes all the way from small to extra large. So follow the beginning chain right here. Okay, once you have your beginning chain, you are going to double crochet into the 4th chain from the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4. That unworked 3 stitches will count as a double crochet. So that's 1, 2. We are going to double crochet in each stitch all the way across. As simple as that. So pause your video here. Continue placing 1 double crochet in each stitch across, and I'll meet you at the other side. Okay, we've made it to the other side of the row. And if you notice, I'm working a little pattern swatch because the top that I worked up is in the color black and it's almost impossible to see the stitches in the color black. So therefore, I am using red. All right, we're going to start our next row. The next 2 rows are going to be a pattern repeat. This pattern is only made up of 2 repeating rows. And on each row, we're going to be increasing on both sides. So to begin, we are going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That chain 4 will count as a double crochet and a chain 1. Turn your work. Since we're increasing, we're going to double crochet back into that very same stitch. Chain 1. All right, so we are going to skip the next stitch, double crochet into the next. Chain 1. Skip the next stitch, double crochet into the next. That's our pattern repeat. Chain 1. All right, you're going to chain 1, skip a stitch all the way across until you make it to the other side. And I will work the last stitch with you because we'll be putting a double crochet in that stitch. All right, pause your video here and I'll meet you at the other side. Okay, we've made it to that very last stitch because here's the double crochet and that's the unworked 3 chain stitches. And we're going to put a double crochet into the top of that chain 3. All right, since this is an increase, we're going to chain 1 again and place another double crochet back into the top of that chain 3 stitch. It's kind of like a little V-stitch right at the ends of both ends of your row. All right, for your next row, we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. This is the second part of your 2-row repeat. Turn your work. Your chain 3 counts as a double crochet. Since we're increasing, we're going to put a double crochet back into that same stitch. And now double crochet into the chain 1 space. Double crochet into the top of the double crochet. We're just double crocheting in each stitch all the way across. Double crochet into the chain 1 space and double crochet into the top of the previous row's double crochet. Yep, so for this row, you're going to place 1 double crochet in each chain 1 and DC all the way across until you make it to the other end. And we'll work this very last stitch together. So pause your video here and I'll meet you at the other side. Okay, we've made it to the very end of the row, and remember, we're doing an increase. So we're going to place 2 double crochets in this very last stitch. So that's 1 and 2. All right, so the previous row and your current row is going to be your pattern repeat. For size small and medium, I want you to repeat this until you have a total of 23 rows. So this is 1, 2, 3, until you have a total of 23 rows. And for size large, extra large, and 2X, I want you to repeat this until you have a total of 25 rows. So you can pause your video here. I'll leave a timestamp below on where to exactly start your pattern repeat in the video, just in case you forgot it. And I'll meet you when you're completed with all of your rows. The chain 1 rows will be an increase of 4 at the end of the row, and the regular DC rows will be an increase of 2 at the end of the row. Here's what it looks like at the completion. Okay, we're officially done with all of our increasing rows, and now we're just going to do even rows for an additional 12 rows. And I'm going to show you how you can do that. You can either change colors by fastening off your work and adding a new color, or just turning your work and continue as we go. But I'm going to be changing my colors because I'm doing rainbow. I'm going to attach my yarn to that very first stitch. I like to do that with a chain 1. I don't count that chain 1 as a stitch. All right, now we're just going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, your chain 4 counts as a double crochet and a chain 1. And instead of putting another stitch in that very same stitch, we're just going to skip 1 stitch and double crochet into the next. And chain 1. Skip 1 stitch. I know it's hard to see in the black. And double crochet into the next. Chain 1. That's going to be our pattern sequence all the way across. So skip 1, double crochet into the next, and chain 1 all the way across until you make it to the other side. We've made it to the very end of this row, and I've already chained 1, and we're just going to place a double crochet in the top of your last chain 3 stitch. So place your double crochet. And that is the end of this row. So we're going to chain 4, 1, 2, whoops, I'm sorry, chain 3, 3. So 1, 2, 3, and we're going to turn our work. Okay, I had to pause my video because my top's getting a little bit big, so I can turn my work. So we already chained 3. We are going to double crochet into the chain 1 space. And double crochet into the top of your double crochet. All right, and that is going to be our pattern repeat. So double crochet into the chain 1 and double crochet into the top of your double crochet all the way across until you make it to the other side. And we'll work that very last stitch together. We've made it to the very end of the row, and we're going to place the last 2 double crochets in together. Remember, your chain 4 counts as a double crochet and a chain 1. So let's double crochet into the chain 1 space. And we're going to double crochet into the top of your chain 3. So 1, 2, 3. And that completes our row. All right, now we're going to complete 10 more rows. We're going to repeat this last row before, followed by the second row. So this is going to be a 2-row pattern repeat. And for each 2 rows, we're going to change colors. So I'm going to put the colored list of colors that I use so you can follow along to the rainbow color. So pause your video here and repeat these last 2 rows until you have a total of 10 more rows, not including these last 2. Here's what your piece looks like so far. Go ahead and make a second piece. Once done, place both panels on top of each other. We're going to sew your panels together as pictured, leaving the centermost stitches open for the neck and leaving open the top 12 rows for the arm. Alright, we have both of our panels. We're going to put them side by side. We're going to sew the top together. We're going to just slip stitch all the way across until your stitch marker. I already attached my yarn. And we're just going to insert your hook into the front stitch, insert your hook into the back stitch, and loosely slip stitch, because if you go too tight, your work will pucker. So I'll show you one more time. Front stitch into the back stitch, slip stitch. Simple as that. We're going to do that all the way across until you make it to your stitch marker. All right, pause your video here and I'll meet you when you get there. Okay, we made it to our stitch marker and we have all our slip stitches in place, and all you're going to do is fasten off your work. And we're going to repeat the same exact thing on the other side of your top. Next, we're going to move on to the arms. You're going to leave the top 12 rows unworked and sew together the bottom portion to form the arms. I'm not going to show you how to sew it closed. You can either use the slip stitch technique or the mattress stitch. Alright, once you're all done with that, I'll show you what it looks like all complete. If you enjoyed this pattern, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and check out my other crochet sweaters.